Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Lüning, Horst Lüning, and I'm the master taster of Whisky.com. And today we have the 1776 bourbon here on my cask. Well, a history date, or a special date in history. What was 1776? Well, all your Americans know very well, but the rest in the world won't know, probably. It was the year of the independence of the United States of America, and Thomas Jefferson wrote down the Declaration of Independence. Well, I'm looking for the words. I'm no Native American. In 25th of December 1776, George Washington crossed the Delaware River and fought the Battle of Trenton against the British and won. And then the independence of the United States of America were born. And all this history is placed in this bottle of whiskey. Buy! Well, a lot of marketing in this, but as we will find out, there's a little bit of history really in it. No bourbon from 1776, but the company, the Georgetown Trading Company, they bought all receipts from mash bills from the very old ages, from 1776, and letters written from distiller to distiller, what they were using. And based on these old mash bills, they produced the whiskey. They also looked up how the whiskey tasted. There are some historical letters which state that also. Well, behind this 1776, I don't know which distillery produced this whiskey originally. But it was bottled by J.E. Pepper and Co., Bardstown, Kentucky. And this J.'s is for James E. Elijah Pepper and Co., Bardstown. And Elijah Pepper, he was one of the very first, if not the very first, distiller in 1776 who produced whiskey. In former times, without an E in front of the Y, that came to the whiskey in 1908 in Ireland after a dispute. This is another story. But the Peppers belong to the very first families producing whiskey. And there's a long chain of or tree of family relatives who produced whiskey. But still, I don't know where this whiskey was really distilled. I have some thoughts, because there are not only this 100 proof whiskey, which means 50% ABV, but there's also a 15-year-old bourbon, and there are two ryes, as well as a rye and a 100 proof rye. The rye also 15 years old, and if I look back those 15 years and who produced 15 years ago rye whiskey, then I'm only thinking about the Bernheim distillery, which is now owned by the Heaven Hill distillers. Their distillery burned down in 1996, I think, and they knew how to produce rye whiskey. And they have these Rittenhouse rye and which they sell. So there are very few distilleries able to produce a good rye whiskey. And today, most of the rye whiskey is imported from Canada. So it's distilled in Canada and filled into casks in Kentucky and matured in Kentucky to a Kentucky rye whiskey. But most of the rye whiskey is produced and originally distilled in Canada. So my guess is this is from Heaven Hill, but I'm really not sure. I don't know it. So 50% ABV. This is the maximum. I'm close to the maximum. I'm sipping whiskey straight, neat. And this one's the very last today, so 50% is okay for this one. Something forgotten? No. Let's have a look at the whiskey. Oak, American oak. Strong vanilla. And I always say, well, there's these solvent, these paint thinner in the bourbon, and no, in this one it's not. And if it's very, very distant, no. It's a wonderful, pleasant nose. And the sweetness of the maize, of the corn is appearing. A wonderful nose. Well, have a sip. Full, strong, a little dry, and mouth-watering. One of the very few bourbons which produce water in my mouth. Typically this is sherry cask matured whiskey from Scotland, but this one also very full in aroma. And the aftertaste, long. There's some, yes, the 50% ABV are still sensible, and it's warm going down your throat. Wonderful little oakiness. Vanilla. There's some spice in the back, but very faint and distant. I can't say what it is. And this wood and leather and vanilla. Some caramel from the casks. Wonderful. Wonderful. Really wonderful. In this bottle lies the oldest and most legendary whiskey legacy in American history. The same old style and methods have been preserved and restored in this fine whiskey. And got a gold medal from the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. And be sure, close to every bottle at the World Spirit Competition in San Francisco got a gold medal. Oh, no, not all, but an awful lot. There's an inflation of medals pouring down from them. So this is nothing special. Join or die. There's the graphics on the back. Yeah, this is it. A wonderful whiskey. If you're able to get your hands on this bottle, it's definitely a buy. Thank you very much for watching. There's more to come. Stay tuned. Probably a rye of this James E. Pepper Distilling Company in Bardstown, Kentucky. Yeah, and feel free to share this video with your friends.